Okay, so for the RAN Intelligent Controller course and this lesson, for rather this session for today, we'll be discussing the RAN Intelligent Controller itself and also review the ORAN interfaces and also introduce what we call the functional split. A few weeks back, no, I maybe gave a bit of a spoiler wherein the mobile network operators that can decide which protocols of the RAN are assigned to certain parts of the Open RAN. So just a review, we have three main components of the RAN. We have the radio unit, the one closest to the mobile users, giving RF functionality. And then the next one is the distributed unit. Those two, the radio unit and distributed unit, are connected by the front hall, no? Wherein we discussed before that the importance of the open front hall to ensure that we can use different devices or different vendor products, and then the extra challenge is the interoperability, no, among the different components. No? If they follow the same standards, then the interoperability will be just need to be tested. No? Yeah. And then after the distributed unit, we have the centralized unit, and then that one is connected to the baseband unit via the mid-hall interface. No? The interfaces may be software interfaces. No? And then the centralized unit is connected to the core, via the backhaul. So later we'll have a brief review, of the ORAN architecture to refresh you, of the different components, different parts. And I guess some of the questions that came up with at the exam. No? So I hope that you were able to answer that. If this topic is still a bit hazy, we're still going to review this today. No? Yeah. So aside from the functional split, now we'll look into the two types of RIC. We have the non-real-time RIC and the near real-time RIC. No? So when I say non-real-time RIC, no, this is the RIC that is in charge of tasks that require more than 1 second. So it may take time, not just 2 seconds, maybe hours, days. No? And later we'll look into what tasks required that amount of delay or that amount of latency. And then we also have the near real-time RIC architecture. In this case, now we will focus on tasks that must be almost real time. Usually, these are operational tasks, to ensure the efficiency of the RAN itself. And so those are the two main RICs, and we will look into them, and we'll look into the high-level architecture. What are the different components within this RIC architectures? Okay, so at the end of the course, so this is what we are expecting the learners, so to be able to summarize the RIC and the functional split, explain X apps and R apps. These may be third-party applications designed to prepare the different non-real-time and near real-time tasks. And then also differentiate the two architectures of RIC, the non-real-time and the near real-time. Okay, so for this session, let's have first a review of the architecture. Yeah. Okay, so just to recall, we know that the radio access network is composed mainly of these three parts. We have the core network, the transport network, and the access network. What we're focusing on today's lesson is more on the access network, the radio access network. Although there are also certain parts like the transport network, core network. Core network usually involves a lot of routers and switches, servers, handling the interconnection among the different service providers. The transport network is also known as the backhaul network. So in the service of the telecommunications company, mostly are managed here in the core network. And then this access network, the main focus is to connect all the different subscribers, like the user equipment, to the telco via RF technology, via radio frequency. So the access networks, no, usually they look like this, no, on the right side, the base stations on the right side. And then over different cellular generations, we have different names for the RAN or the radio access network. Depending on the cellular generation, there's a specific name for this. And notice that over different generations, there are a lot, and usually they require different devices. That's why almost every 10 years, the telco needs to upgrade and deploy different sets of equipment, which caused the move, to have open radio access network, wherein you don't need to rely on proprietary hardware to deploy your network, but rather just open hardware. And then the the market now is dictating the software, the design for the different software components. Yeah. So you can see here, 2G, we have GSM Edge. This Edge is the like upgraded version of GSM. And then 3G is UMTS, Universal Mobile Terrestrial System. LTE, long-term evolution, and then NR is new radio. Their RAN are their RANs are called different. So, like we have GERAN, UTRAN, EUTRAN, 5G. Okay, and then aside from the different cellular technologies, there are also different, what you can say is architecture of RAN. We have the traditional RAN, the centralized RAN, virtualized RAN, and open RAN. In the traditional RAN, this one is where everything is proprietary, and the radio unit and BBU are co-located on the site, or they may be a bit, they may be on different devices. No, they may be split, and they are connected by this interface, no, this front hall interface, the common public radio interface. Okay. So that started in 2G and early phases of 3G. Eventually, there are some architectures like the centralized RAN, also known as cloud RAN. So not really on the cloud, but rather the idea that a lot of the baseband units, are pulled in a centralized location, wherein the baseband unit will handle a lot of the antennas and RRUs, far away. So the baseband unit and the radio units are connected via usually fiber optic connections, because it may be kilometers away. So there are two options for this. We have the no split DBU and the split DBU into DU and CU. So the DU is distributed unit and CU is the centralized unit. Okay, another kind of architecture is the virtualized RAN, wherein somehow the different functions, are virtualized on top of commercial off-the-shelf devices. So another name for this is virtual RAN or just vRAN. Okay, but the key difference is that in virtualized RAN, not all the components are open, meaning some of the devices are still proprietary. If it's proprietary, then there will be vendor lock-in, and then the mobile operators can't really upgrade without changing. I mean, cannot upgrade much on the hardware without relying on the individual on that one vendor. And then eventually now we're moving towards Open RAN, wherein all the hardware components are open, meaning they may be commercial off-the-shelf devices. And in this case, no, they may be servers that may be different vendors. No. And the key difference is that a lot of the functions will be virtualized, running on top of the open devices. Also, the front hall interface will be open, and then later we'll discuss more, on the what we call the functional split. Yeah. Okay, so a review as well, of the current architecture. No, I hope you can still recall most of the parts here, but we can have a quick look again of the different parts. What you can see here is that there are different components and interfaces. We can start first on the three main components, the radio unit, distributed unit, and the centralized unit. So those three parts are the main parts before of the radio access networks. So the O on the left on the prefix node defines the that it is open. No, it's ORAN defined distributed unit, ORAN radio unit, ORAN centralized unit. In this architecture as well, we separated the control plane and the user plane just to show that there are different interfaces as well, um, interconnecting different parts. So those are the three components. So between the distributed unit and the radio unit, we have the front hall, open front hall, no, FH. No. So if you can recall, no, the front hall interface may vary. There are different types. We have the CPRI, but CPRI is proprietary, so maybe eCPRI, and FAPI, and so on. And we will also recall that a bit later. Just remember, distributed unit and radio unit no, is connected by the front hall interface. And then we have the CU and DU, no, the interface connecting the two components is what we call the mid-hall interface. And particularly, the mid-hall interface is F1. This is a 3GPP mid-hall interface. Okay, so notice that the interfaces have different colors just to identify which ones are defined already by 3GPP and which ones are ORAN Alliance defined. So the gray ones are 3GPP defined, like this mid-hall, and then the others are ORAN interfaces, like the front hall interface. Okay, so those are the three components. Okay, of course, this is just for one node no, or one base station essentially. If there are other base stations, like for example this one, we have E node B here. It's indicated as O so that it shows it's open. This is a 4G node, so it can still be of course deployed, and then notice as well here, there are other interfaces, no, X2 and GXM. No. Those are connecting to the other nodes, meaning that the different nodes no, may have interconnections. No. One node, node E node B, G node B may be interconnected no, so that they can share information. They can transfer some data, maybe analytics no, to prepare some handover between the two base stations. Okay, so this is this three parts, the DURUC. See, RUDUCU, or just not just one set of nodes, no, but rather there may be more than one. Of course, handling a lot of the different geographical areas. No? They may be small cells, or they may be big, rather not big cells, no, but rather they may be covering a large area, maybe a whole city, depending on the capacity. Okay, so what differentiates this architecture now from the past traditional RAN is that there are now, aside from open interfaces and open hardware, now we also have what we call the RIC, the near real-time RAN intelligent controller. This near real-time RAN intelligent controller have two main components. So we have the non-real-time RIC and the near real-time RIC. So notice that the near real-time RIC connects to the different RAN components. No? As you can see here, the E node B, the E2 interface. No? Inside this one, you'll also find the RU, DU, and CU. It's just right now it's a black box or green box. No? And then here you can see the near real-time RIC no, connects to the different components via E2 interface again. Just remember E2 interface no, is the one from the near real-time RIC no, to the other components. No? So siguro one way to remember this is that near, no, may letter E dyan. So may E2 interface. Ayan. So you can see it connects no, to the different parts, no, the CU, the DU, no, to collect information necessary for various processing. No? So a bit later, we'll see no, ano yung mga usual processing of the near real-time rig. No? But usually, those tasks no, less than 1 second. Okay, what else? We also see that the non-real-time rig and the near real-time rig are connected via the A1 interface. It's important not to connect them because the non-real-time rig no, will gather the data, no? Gather the data needed no, for long-term processing no, via the near real-time rig. For example, if there's a need to train AI models, machine learning models for um, long-term development, for prediction, traffic prediction, and things like that. No? Then real-time rig will be focused more on that. And so we had two important interfaces here, right? The E2 and then the A1 interface. Okay, there are other interfaces here. As you can see, you have the O1 interface, connects to the different RAN components from the service management and orchestration framework. This is usually for maintenance purposes, no? So for um, more on configuration, security, management, and things like that. No? But the A1, E2 mostly on gathering data from the radio access networks. Okay, what else? We also have the O2 interface, no, but this one is not connecting to the RAN, but rather connecting towards the O cloud for maybe for other purposes like inventory, software management. No, it's now in the cloud no, and other parts. No. So this RAN components here at the bottom, no, mostly those are they are tasked to assign communications no, for the mobile users. Yeah, so I hope that you were able to review this one. I think the best way to really understand this no, is this was also the assignment no, in the course is to really draw it no, on a piece of paper or or a tablet if you use tablets no, for writing. And then just draw it no, again and again and eventually it will really you will really grasp it or really memorize it. Yeah. Or you can design on your PowerPoint, I think, or something like that. Okay. So anyway, you can also search this online. This is the um same architecture that you can find from the ORAN Alliance. No? I think the color scheme is similar so that we can easily refer to it. No? Parang easily compare it no, to the ORAN architecture design. Yeah. Okay, so this is the main slide from the previous related lesson. No? And in the next slide, we'll go over more in detail towards the RAN intelligent controller. Yeah. Okay, so this one is a slightly different, but honestly, it's the same. Architecture. It's just called the Alliance Reference Architecture. As you can see, the colors are the same, the names and the interfaces. What this shows is to give you para hindi mabigla, no? So that we're not surprised when we see a lot more detail inside. No? So you can see here in the service management and operation framework at the top, the purple one, there are more on policies, design, inventory, configuration no, of the RANs. No? It usually takes a longer time. That's why the non-real time RAN intelligent controller is also found in this part. No? And remember the non-real time RIC now connects to the near real time RIC via the A1 interface. And in the near real time RIC, you'll see that there are different applications. No? Remember that the near real time RIC no, collects information from different RANs to gather for data analytics. No? And for the purpose of radio connection management, mobility management, quality of service management, interference management, and implementation or rather deployment of a trained model. This trained model may be coming from the non-real-time rig. No? So after the non-real-time rig trains it for a long time, it can now give that model now to the near real-time rig so that the near real-time rig will implement it. Whatever model no, that the mobile network operator wants, no? Because they can customize now, no, however they want. If they find that it's best to analyze the user statistics, or maybe analyze the usage statistics, prediction of possible um, possible downtime and things like that. But they can deploy their own, since all the software can be customized, no? Since they're using the same, or rather they're using COTS hardware, no? They can design their own system or software system. Okay, and then of course the new real-time rate contains the different information about the radio network. However, how many nodes, no, it connects to. And then from the near real-time rate, we have the E2 interface connecting to the CU and the DU. Notice that the CU may be in multiple radio access technology. There may be 5G, there may be 4G. There are cases that there are also 3G and 2G. No? So it's like an all G solution. It really depends on what the mobile network operator um, wants to push, wants to set up. Yeah. So I noticed as well that on the different parts of the RAN, there are different acronyms there, no? Some of the acronyms were introduced before in the deep dive into ORAN architecture, but we'll cover them again a bit later. So these are just different protocols, no, on the RAN protocol stack, and the assignment, no, whether they are placed in a certain component, no, varies, no, depending on the implementation of the telco, no. If they prefer that all of these are or rather most of these are assigned to DU, then they can do so. Maybe their DU is more powerful, no, marami pang resources, marami pang processing units, marami pang RAM storage. They can do so depending on their use cases. Ayan. Okay, so I hope na review natin, no, yung ating ORAN architecture, and now let's proceed, no, dun sa RIC overview and functional split, no. Okay, so remember as well, no, in the ORAN working group, there are a lot of working groups assigned to do different activities, no, in the ORAN Alliance. Working group 1 to 11, for there are others as well, but these are the main ones. So we have working group 1 for the use cases and overall architecture. The two important ones na for this lecture is the working group 2 and 3, wherein it's the RIC and the A1 and E2 interfaces. So as you can see, now in working group 2, the focus is to support the non-real-time RIC, intelligent radio resource management, higher layer procedure, policy, and so on. And then working group 3 is the near real-time RIC and E2 interfaces, more on the control and optimization of the RAN by fine-grained data collection and actions over E2 interface. Remember, E2 interface is the one connecting from the near real-time RIC to the different components like the CU and the. And then there are others like this one. Working group 4, the open front haul interface, and then the others, no, like open F1. F1 is the mid haul, and then other interfaces. So they're defining the standards for this to ensure that the interfaces would allow interoperability, even if you buy different hardware from various vendors, no, they should still be able to interoperate. Other working groups are listed here, although not as important in this lecture, no, but you can find that they also target different parts now of the radio access networks. Even the backhaul, no, the transport network. Yeah. Okay, so working group 2 and 3, no, are the important working groups for this lecture, and they focus on the RIC, no, on the RAN intelligent controller. In the past, there are also controllers in the earlier cellular generations. We have the BSC for 2G, base station controller, and RNC, radio network controller for 3G. So in 2G, 3G, there were also controllers. Although in 4G, there's not really a separate component on as a controller, no, but there are also what we call the X2 interface, connecting the E node B so that they can exchange information between nodes. And the challenge back then was that X2 interface was also proprietary, meaning the vendor has their own version. So only the vendors that are, or only the nodes that coming from the same vendor can communicate. And then in 5G, there's now the RIC, no, the RAN Intelligent Controller, or in 5G Open RAN, no, there's now a RAN Intelligent Controller to enable the eNode B and GNode B functionalities. No? So when we say eNode B, this is a 4G node, and a GNode B is a 5G node. No? Ayan. And then we have two main types. Rather, we have the main reason for having the RAN Intelligent Controller is that to facilitate, the 5G applications. So there are the applications require low latency, and then to do so, no, we use network function virtualization and software defined networking. No? Yan. So originally, the RIC is designed for 5G Open RAN, but eventually, no, it can also be designed for other cellular generations. No? Yeah. So mostly the key, is that the RAN intelligent controller will help in the self-optimization of the radio access network. And if the radio access network is self-optimized, then that would lead to the efficiency of the RAN. Okay. So we have the two types. Now we have the non-real time and the near real time RIC framework. So the non-real time RIC, if you can remember, from the architecture, it's at the top. No, it's at the purple one. It's on the SMO framework, and then this one, no, connects to the near real time RIC via the A1 interface, and then this one supports tasks that require greater than 1 second latency. No? Usually, it also hosts what we call the R apps. The R apps are just applications. They may be third-party applications that somehow provide additional services, for RAN optimization. For example, for configuration management, for data analytics. And then for near real-time RIC, this one, since the name is near real-time, no, it's less than 1 second. Usually, it focuses on tasks, for radio resource management, like for eNode B, GNode B functionalities, maybe for network slicing, for scheduling, and other tasks, that are related. Okay, so for the another way of viewing the architecture, the ORAN architecture is this, no? But essentially, as you can see, na similar naman. All the components are still there. We have the SMO, and then in the SMO, we have the non-real-time RIC connecting to the near real-time RIC via the A1 interface. No? So this is one way of looking at the non-real-time RIC architecture. A bit later, we'll have a more detailed architecture on this. No? And then all the other functions are still here. Medyo naiba lang ng konti yung layout, but it's still the same. Okay, as we discussed, a bit earlier, we have the working group 2 responsible for the non-real-time RIC and the A1 interface. Notice that there are also two main interfaces here, the A1 and the O1. They are considered northbound interfaces just because yung it it shows the connection towards a higher level of block. No? It doesn't mean one direction, unidirectional lang siya na communications. It's still bidirectional. No? It's just that logically, no, in the design, we have a lower level and then the upper level. No? So towards the north, no, towards the higher level block. And then if we go to the next slide, no, showing the near real-time RIC, we have the near real-time RIC here defined in working group 3. And then there's an E2 interface. This one is now considered southbound interface because it's going from this block, no, downwards to southern block, no, or lower level block pa. So northbound interfaces in A1 and O1, and then southbound interface yung E2. No? So again, it doesn't mean unidirectional, no, but rather it just shows the from a lower from a higher block no, to a lower block yung usual na parang convention. No? So ayan. Okay, so a bit later, mas marami pang details no, for this architectures. No? But for now, let's look at the functional splits. No? Ayan. Okay, so ayan, sorry. Okay, so we have here, as you can see on the left side, that this is the different parts. So we have the RRU, the BBU. These two comprise the radio access network, no? Connected to the core network via the backhaul interface. And then the RAN components may be subdivided into RRU and BPU, and then they are connected via the front haul interface. So whatever task is assigned to each unit, it depends on the design of the mobile network operator. It can be like this. Certain protocols are running on the BBU, while the other protocol, usually the lower layer protocol, is assigned to the RRU, specifically the radio frequency protocol. So just like other protocol stacks, there are levels to the protocols, and this is just one way of looking at it. So if we compare the RAN protocol stack to the OSI layer, usually the RAN protocol stack is only from layer 1 of the OSI model, the physical layer to the data link layer, and then the network layer. So this is very similar if you're familiar with, for example, switches, routers. No? So switches, they only reach until layer 2, but they perform different protocols, and it's not the same set of protocols. Usually Ethernet, or minsan pwede ring 802.11, things like that. And then network layer kapag mga routers na. So ganun din dito no, in the radio access networks, there are different layers no, in the OSI model. And since their focus is really to exchange information, connect the different components, no, they only do functions up to the network layer. Yeah. So other processing no, would be done by mga RIC na and so on. Yeah, and so let's look at the different RAN protocols under the different layers of the OSI. For the network layer, we have the SDAP, the Service Data Adaptation Protocol. This one is focused on the quality of service flow handling. And then we have the Radio Resource Control, or RRC, more on the connection management and mobility functions. PDCP, for IP header compression, since we're coming from the network layer na pababa. So usually pag network layer, nandyan yung mga IP addressing. So pagbaba now, we have the compression of the IP header, and then radio link control, more on the segmentation of the data, and adding of the error correction or automatic retransmission request or error correction. And then going down, we have the medium access control, or MAC, for multiplexing of the data. And then finally, the physical layer, or PHY, for modulation, demodulation, cyclic redundancy check, error correction, and then radio frequency, ADCDs. So mukhang maraming information here, no? But over time, if you keep seeing these acronyms, you'll be more familiar with them. Ayan. So, ano yung assign to each component? It varies depending on the design of the mobile network operator. Kasi may functional split na tinatawag. So, kailan ba na-define yung functional split? No? It was defined in the technical report 38.801. So, this critical, no? Maraming technical reports and technical specifications, pero ito important for the functional split. So this was defined in 3GPP, wherein the baseband unit, originally one big block lang siya. Now you can separate it into CU and BU. Why the need to separate? Because it's possible that you want your CU to be on a different location, on different hardware, and you don't want to create a new BBU just for the certain part. Yeah. And then this will is really for optimization of the functionalities. So because of the split, no, naging from BBU to CU and DU, and then now we have what we call the mid-haul interface, no, connecting the CU and DU. So in this case, now the 3GPP-TR 38.801 defines the mid-haul interface and how the functional split now can be implemented now. Which of the functions are assigned to the CU, which are the functions assigned to the DU, and also even the RRU. No? But mostly RRU really is assigned yung the lower two protocols. No? Okay, so you can also search this one if you want to read more about the technical report. There's a link at the bottom. Um, this slide also is available on this course site, but you can also search online on www.3gpp.org/DynaReport/38801. And as a third generation partnership project website siya. Yan. So ano ba ulit yung functional split, no? I've mentioned it earlier, no? But this one is, it defines the different protocol layers na residing at different components. This way, no, there will be there's a possibility to deploy different um models, no, depending on the needs of the mobile network operators. So by standardizing the different possible split, no, how the protocols are assigned, no, this would enable the vendors, no, to follow similar standards. No. If they follow the similar standards, then that means we can allow interoperability. That's the reason why these are being defined, to standardize them and to allow interoperability since they follow the same standard. So how do we select which split choice? Because there will be a lot of choices later now. It depends on the quality of service that they want to deliver, depends on the user density, and depending on the transport network at the back end. Yeah. So that's the main idea of the functional split, no? So um however the different protocols are assigned, no, it depends on the needs, no, of the mobile network operator. Yeah. Okay, so overview of the functional split before we go into the details. In the monolithic RAN, you can see on the left side, you have the baseband unit and the radio unit. No? And then in the RAN functional split, no, na further divide ang baseband unit. No? So recall, yung functional split was defined in the 3GPP Technical Report 38.801. So in the CU and the DU. No? So the RAN functional split divides the monolithic RAN into three parts. We have the RU, the DU, and the CU. And then there will be what we call different types of splits, depending on how we separate the components. For example, if we separate the RU and then the CUDU, combined CUDU, that's what they call a low layer split. Very intuitive kasi nasa baba, low layer split. If we divide yung CU and then the DU and RU are integrated. So we have CU and then RU-DU. That's what they call the higher layer split. No? Kasi nasa taas, no? High layer split. No? And then if we combine, no, we split all the components. No? So meron dito, magkahiwalay talaga sila, and then magkahiwalay din ito. We have a dual split, no? Considering both the high layer split and the low layer split. No? And again, no, why we need to split the different components? No? It depends kasi no, on how the mobile network operator plans to virtualize the different functions. Maybe they want to virtualize the CU separately, handling maybe more than one DU, or they want to combine DU and RU on the same device or co-located sila. No, pwede din. Ayan. So, let's look at the high layer split muna, no? Paano malalaman high layer split? Kasi nasa taas to ng protocol stack. No? Yeah, so these are the different protocols mentioned earlier, no? Some are used for flow handling, if you can recall this one, no? Flow handling, connectivity, connection management, IP header. No? So yung first two usually network layer, next three is the data link layer, and next two are for physical layer. No? Yan, hakulay naman sila accordingly. No? So yung mga darker blue is the network layer. Ito naman is yung nasa data link layer. Ito naman is physical layer. Yan. So for the high layer split, no, we have what we call options 1 and 2. Magkaiba kasi no, kung kailan hahatiin. No? So we specify kung ano yung naka-assign no, sa CU. No? So in the CU, it can have the two components here or two protocols here. And then all the others are assigned on the DU and RRU. So lahat ng other protocols nasa kanya na. That's option 1. No? Minsan itong combined, no? The combined DU and RRU is what we call the RDU. Okay, option 2 is where we also include the PDCP. So isang data link protocol, no, if you revisit no, what is PDCP for, no, this is Packet Data Convergence Protocol. Maybe includes the IP header compression. No? So if they find that there's a need no, to separate this or add this here, baka kasi mas marami pang capability, no, yung hardware nila for CU, then they can also do so. No? And so in this high layer split, no, high layer no, nasa taas. So bale may two blocks lang, no. Yung one block is the CU and then the other block is the RDU or the integrated DU and RQ. No? Ang critical interface dito would be the CU, the connection between CU and the RDU, which is the mid-haul interface or the F1 interface. Kaya nakasulat dyan. Yan. So this is desirable for um, capacity use cases no, in dense urban areas. No, kapag medyo dense yung area. Yan. So this is the functional split options 1 and 2 no, in a nutshell. Actually, mas marami pang detail yan. No, if I think later may link no, to the whole functional split design kung saan sa bawat protocol pa marami pang nangyayaring blocks, marami pang processing no, involved. Yan. So now let's look at the low layer split. There are three options. So actually in option 7, mas maraming pang sub-options. No? But for now, let's look at the three split options. We have here option 8, kasi yan nasa pinakababa. No? Option 8 is the RF protocol na is only assigned to RU. So that means yung kanyang, if we go back na dito, nakafocus lang siya sa analog to digital and digital to analog conversion. No? So, yung modulation, error correction nasa upper device. No? Yeah. Notice, no, we have two blocks. One is RU and then the other one is the CUDU or the integrated CU and DU. Ayan. So, in this case, no, maganda ito for cases na medyo rural kasi less front end processing yung kailangan, no, more on really just providing the analog digital and digital to analog conversion. So kapag medyo mas konti no yung subscribers, no, more cost effective na to pull together most of the functions no in a centralized location. Yeah. Okay, so ayan. The next option is option 7. We have CU, DU, and then RU as well. Pero some of the functions, no, yung low physical, no, is assigned to RU. No? So siguro later we'll see, no, ano ba yung function, no, na assigned under phi kasi nagkaroon tayo ng low phi at saka high phi, no. We'll see later, no, how this is further subdivided. Kasi yung phi, no, yung physical layer is of the RAN physical protocol is assigned for the modulation, saka yung error correction. Ayan. So still two blocks pa din naman. No? More on yung kung saan lang nahati, no? Anong RAN protocol yung assigned to a certain part. Then the last low layer split is the option 6. No? This is the physical layer protocols are assigned to the RU. No? Yan. And then all the others are above. So kanina na meron tayong layer, split option 1, split option 2, and then 6, 7, 8. No? Yung others, yung 3, 4, 5 na not as highly utilized, no? But these are usually the more suggested, the more suggested na options. No? Yeah, so let's go into detail on this low layer split options. No? For option 6, no, ito yung kanyang pagkakahati. No? Ang kadalasan na front hall interface is what we call NFAPI. This is defined by the Small Cell Forum. So this NFAPI means Functional Application Platform Interface. Kadalasan, this is for small cells, no? Mga maliliit lang yung coverage and dense, no? Yung kanilang target. No? So this allows the small CU and small DU to connect to any small RU. Yan. And then we have option 7. Option 7 is it uses eCPRI front hall interface. So yung CPRI means Common Public Radio Interface. Ayan. This is a good option for distributed RAN, including massive MIMO. Then, this one is option 7. Pero as I mentioned earlier, na option 7, mas marami pang sub-options. Kasi there are other use cases for this. No? But essentially, no, in option 7, nahati yung ating physical layer, no, into two parts pa, no, the low and high, no, physical or hi-fi. No? So how does the physical RAN protocol work? No, there are various components. No, right now hindi naman po ganun ka-important to memorize this, no? But rather you can see that there are different blocks no happening from this one, from the upper layer pababa hanggang the lower layer. No? And dito nahahati further into the sub-splits. No? So kung ano mang sub-split option yung napili, no? It varies depending on the use cases. Yan, so may 7.1, 7.2x, 7.2, 7.3. And if you want to know more, no, yung, medyo marami nga lang details dito. Una ko nakita na it looks very detailed talaga. No? So you can go here no, to this website, no, www.cubeoptics.com/functional-split. No? You can see there all the different details no, for each protocol. For we have how many protocols earlier? Meron tayong 7, no? 7 RAN protocols. In each RAN protocol, naka-define yung mga different blocks nila. No? Ayan. So you can visit this one. No? You can search as well. Ayan. So yun yung functional splits natin. No? For functional split 7. Then functional split 8, kung saan yung RU is just assigned the RF. This is good for the 2G and 3G no, when the processing rates are lower. Yan. So to summarize the different functional splits, you can see here, we have the options 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. Meron ding 3, 4, 5, pero not as widely studied. No? So in option 1, since we are looking at the CU and then the DU-RU, no, so dalawang main blocks, yung interface na important there is the mid-haul interface. No? Yung mid-haul interface natin is what we call F1 by 3GPP. And then in option 6, 7, 8, since we have two blocks there, we have the RU and then the CU-DU. The important interface is the front-haul interface. So depending on the option type, there are certain front hall interface assigned for that. Like here, we have the NFAPI, the eCPRI, and eCPRI. The CPRI is also applicable for option 8, pero vendor specific kasi ito, no? This is a proprietary interface. No? Yeah. So the operators and vendors can select the split variant according to their design and operational needs. No? If they find that a lot of processing no, is being done on the lower layers, no, they can provide better or parang more powerful hardware on that and then pull together all the different parts para sama-sama na sila magpo-process. Ayan. So, again, no, itong nasa taas, high layer split, no? Kasi nasa taas sila. Pero essentially, kasi from lower layer to upper layer. No? And then this one's the low layer split. And if you want to use both layers, then there are cases for dual layer split. No? Parang pipili, no? So the reason for having these options is again to standardize how the splits can be done. If standardized na sila, no, there will be a common set of guidelines no, for vendors, and then they can design the accordingly. No. So even if the operator na decide to go with the vendor A for the CU, then vendor B for the DU, they can still do so, provided that they follow the same standards no, na set by ORAN Alliance. No. That way, they can interoperate. No. And then the additional task, however, is for interoperability and integration. Ayan. Okay, so this is also one way of viewing the functional split no, prepared by Parallel Wireless. No. Parang horizontal lang siya. Kanina kasi is vertical. No? So the layer 1 functions, lower layer is found on the left and then pataas, no, papunta, or pakanan, papunta sa upper layers. No? So you can see here there are different options. No? Ayan. And but essentially the same as previous lang. No? This is just a horizontal way of looking at it. And then these are some sample deployment scenarios. No, in general lang, there will be more complicated scenarios in actual setting. Here you can see on the left, wherein all the components of the RAN are independent. They are found at maybe at different locations. You have the RU, DU, and CU. You have the front hall interface here, and then the mid hall interface here. No? There may be they may be far apart na yung CU, DU, and RU. So para siyang dual layer split na in this case. And then here on the second one, no, we have a co-located CU and DU, and then we have the RU separated from the two. So the important interface here would be the front hall interface, no, ensuring that the DU and RU are connected. So this may be good no, for cases wherein you have a powerful device that can handle a lot of the CU and DU functionalities. No? And can also handle multiple RUs. Pwede may connection na marami pang RUs dito. Yan. And then another one, on the third deployment scenario is the CU and then the DU RU. So kung saan we have there is a frontal interface here, pero medyo maikli lang. Pwedeng nasa same building. And then the mid-hall interface here, no, maybe far apart na, no, medyo pwedeng ano na siya, kilometers away na. No. So this one may be good no, for mga dense networks kung saan majority no, of the processing no, should be done on the near the end users. Then lastly, we have the RUDUC integration. No? This is the frontal and middle interface is very short. No? And then, of course, there should be a long backhaul interface no, towards the core network. No? In this case, no, ang typical use case ito is mga small cells, hotspot areas. Ayan. So, speaking of small cell, no, ito yung how the functional split no, is being viewed no, by the small cell forum. So they have the 5G RAN solutions, and then they have two main types, no, integrated and disaggregated. So it's an integrated one product solution kasi sama-sama yung tatlo, no, yung RU, DU, and CU. They are all on the same product no, for the small cell node. And then for this aggregated solutions, no, there may be separated products, no, two products or three product solutions. No. For the two product solution, it depends on the split option no, that is being used. No. Again, yung two-product solution, depending on which split option is selected, if it's the low layer split, you have one product is the RU, the other product is the CUDU. And then for the high layer split, you have the CU, and then the other product is the RUDU, the integrated RUDU. Yeah. Another disaggregated solution is this three-product solution wherein you have here um the dual split options, the combination of the high layer and low layer splits. So three product solution because you have the RU, the DU, and CU. They are separated. No? There are three products there. And again, depending on the deployment scenario, so you can select which ones is yung best, no? Best case. Yeah. And then I think this one was briefly introduced no, in the previous lecture on the deep dive into oral architecture, but now no, I hope that you got a more understanding on why there are different products here. This is coming from the parang vendor perspective. No? They offer different products, different solutions. Yeah. Okay, so aside from the possible use cases, the mobile network operator can select no, which of the deployment scenarios are best no, fit no, for them, depending on the delay, the improvement, and the bandwidth utilization. No? So yeah, siguro we can since we have limited time, no, we can skip this a bit. No? But essentially, no, there are factors involved. No? Aside dun sa sinabi kanina, let me go back. No? Ayan. So there are three factors no, in selecting the split choice no, depending on their quality of service, the load or the user density, and ano man yung how dense no, the geographical area is, and then the transport networks. No? So let me go back. Ayan. Okay, so to summarize the functional split, no, siguro let me go to dun sa important slide. I can imagine that this is the most important slide for the functional split because it shows all the different options. And then remember no, yung itong darker blue defines the network layer. Then the hindi masyadong dark. Light blue is the data link layer protocols. And then the lower layer is the physical layer protocols. So whichever option you choose, no, that would define kung anong type of split siya. If options 1 and 2, high layer split, option 6, 7, 8, low layer split, or a combination. No? So again, there are other options like options 3, 4, 5, no, but not as used, no, mas parang intuitive na gamitin yung other options. And then if you choose option the high layer split, you only have the CU and then RDU. If you choose the low layer split, you just have the CU and RU, just like what you can see here. No? So parang ito, high layer split, low layer split. Ito low layer split lang. High layer split, ito naman integrated na. So pwedeng sama-sama na in one block. No? One product solution lang siya. So ito one product solution, two product solution, two product solution, and then three product solution. The next parts no, of the lecture no, is shorter no, compared to the other one. So of course, we won't exceed no yung ating 2 hour limit. So I hope na sundan po natin yung discussion earlier about the functional split. In a nutshell, when I say functional split, it's just really how we separate the different RAN protocols no, into the three parts, so the RU, DU, and CU. Mas marami lang detail tayo diniscuss kanina, pero yun, in a nutshell, yun yung purpose ng functional split. No? So that there will be flexibility no, on what type of deployment the mobile network operators can do. And then yun nga lang yung particular split no, which protocols are assigned to certain parts. So yun yung defined no, in the 3GPP Technical Report 38.801. So ngayon, let's look at what we call the RAN control loops. These are how the different communications are being um, exchange no, among the components. And then later, no, we'll discuss more about the R apps, the X apps, the non-real-time RIC architecture, near real-time RIC architecture. No? So mostly right now, no theoretical, no, but we're working, no, Asia Open RAN Academy is working more on providing practical na hands-on activities no, to really get a more intuitive feel no, how the RIC works, how the apps work. No. Of course, no, a lot of those will be virtualized no, kasi yun talaga yung main component of virtualization. But right now, no, it's important to lay out the knowledge first no, before going into the hands-on. And kasi, so that we are all on the same page no, regarding the different terminologies. And so now let's proceed no, dun sa next part. We have the RAN control loops. For, again, no, this is paulit-ulit natin pinapakita to really um, parang nail down the details, no, nail down the architecture. So in left side is the overall RAN architecture defined by 3GPP. So we have the core network, the backhaul or the transport network, and then the other three parts here is the radio access network or just the access network. Within that radio access networks, now we can have three different parts, the centralized unit, the distributed unit, and the radio unit. And so kung ano man yung functions nila, no, depending on the assigned protocols here, but mostly, you know, you can imagine that the CU is in charge of the network layer functions. No? Then the DU is in charge mostly of the data link layer functions. And then the RU is usually handling the physical layer functions. Yeah. So if they are separated, no, they are not on the same device or same product. No, the CU and DU is connected no, by the mid-haul interface. No? The mid-haul interface, no, as defined by 3GPP, is what we call the F1 interface. Yeah. And then the DU and RU connection no, is defined as the front haul interface. This one it depends kung ano kasing split options yung gagamitin. Di ba kanina meron tayong CPRI, eCPRI, and FAPI. So essentially, the front haul interface connects the DU and RU. And so ito yung sa 3GPP. Pagdating sa ORAN Alliance na architecture, as you can see, meron namang similarities. So you can still find the CU, DU, and RU here. Anong pinagkaiba? Naging O na, naging open, no? Naging ORAD defined na yung mga components. And aside from that, no, we now have the RIC, no, and the near real-time RIC and the non-real-time RIC, no, defined in the service management and orchestration framework. Ayan. So, anong important interfaces that are defined here? We have the E2 interface. E2 interface is from the near real-time RIC. Kakulay din nung kaninang design, no? Yellow din siya. And then it connects to the nodes, no? Like for example, E node D, G node D. And particularly within that node, no, you have it connects to the CU and the DU. No? Why it connects to the two? Because it gathers the data no, about the radio access network for the purpose of optimizing no, the radio access network, which we'll discuss later. No? Ano yung mga functions na usually pinoprovide no, nitong near real-time RIC. Yan. And then yung ating non-real-time RIC nandito sa SMO, it connects to the near real-time RIC via A1 interface. No? Why the need to connect the two? Because it will, since the gather na no, ng near real-time RIC yung kanyang mga data about the RAN, about the nodes, no? It can share the information to the non-real-time RIC for further processing if they need to apply AI, machine learning models for maybe prediction or mostly for long term, no? Then they can do so. Yan. Ano pa yung missing interfaces from here? May O1 saka O2 interface, no? Kasi mga X2, XN, and G interfaces, no? But those are usually for mga maintenance no, and mga pag-share ng information among components. No? Ayan. Pero ito po yung ano parang overall architecture, no? The important parts, no? Comparing the two from the 3GPP to the ORAN architecture. No? So we already defined the other interfaces, like as you can see here. No? Ito naka-detail lang on the left side, but all of these are also found in the ORAN architecture earlier. Naka-tabulate lang in this case. So ano yung mga control loops a bit in the next slide na titignan natin. No? Yan, siguro let me skip here. Yan, so the different control loops no the for the ORAN architecture would be as follows. The first one is the non-real-time RIC control loop. So yung connection no, between the um, non-real-time RIC and near real-time RIC. And then the near real-time RIC control loop, the connection between the near real-time RIC and the other parts. And the ODU scheduler control loop. This one is responsible for scheduling, repeat requests, beamforming, and things like that. So there are three main control loops in this case. So you can revisit your ORAN architecture to see more on this control loop. But essentially, it uses the important components, relevant components, and the different interfaces. Yeah, so this is also one way of viewing the different interfaces if you want to um, see more text detail, no? But essentially, no, all of these are defined in the block diagram, in the architecture. No? Like again, no, front hall between RU and DU. F1 is the mid hall interface between DU and CU. E1 naman is it's just within the CU, no? Connecting the control and the user plane. E2 connects the CU to RIC. Actually, also connects the DU to RIC. A1 is from the near real-time RIC to SMO, or near real-time RIC to the non-real-time RIC. O1 is from the RU to the SMO, and then also other components if you revisit there. And then O2 is from SMO to OCloud. Yeah. So naka-detail lang siya in a table, but if you're already quite familiar na dun sa ating architecture, yung very important architecture from the previous lecture, then you don't need to really memorize on this table. Ayan. Okay, so yun yung three control loops. No? Again, we have the non-real-time RIC control loop, near real-time RIC control loop. So now let's go to the R apps and X apps. No? Ito yung parang value-added services of the RICs, no? In the ORAN architecture. So these are not available in the earlier RAN architectures like traditional RAN, ganyan. Because these are dependent no, on the RICs and what data they get and how the data will be processed. No? So that's why the virtualization, cloud, mga software developers, engineers, no, they will have a key responsibility as well no, in improving the telco network. No? So it's not just the RF engineers, not just the network engineers, no, pwede na rin even the software developers kasi they can design the most efficient apps that can run no, on the RICs. Ayan. So, ano po pinagkaiba ng R apps and X apps? No? Pag R apps, these are found on the non-real-time RIC. X apps found on the near real-time RIC. Siguro, paano ba tatandaan? So, para maisip ko para matandaan is siguro para alphabetical na lang sila. May R mauna bago sa X. And so, yung R app nasa non-real-time RIC. Then, yung X apps nasa near real-time RIC siya. Yan. So yung R apps, they are tasks, no, applications no, designed for the task for more than 1 second of latency. And usually nakahiwalay din naman talaga siya sa non-real-time RIC, no, pero very close. No. Pareho sila nasa SMO. The purpose of these R apps, no, kaya din sila independent kasi they can be open or proprietary, no, And yung mga yun, no, they support different functions. Like for example, if they need to optimize the operations of the RAN, prepare, parang modify yung mga policies or mga configurations, data analytics, ayan, they can be designed on that way. So ito yung parang mas intuitive na example, no? For example is traffic forecasting. Maybe they can determine na kung up to what day maybe, or at what point magkakaroon ng burst of traffic, saan siya matatagpuan, and things like that. Or if there's a need to reconfigure, no, to redesign yung system, no, they can do so, no. Parang you can, dito papasok yung mga data analytics. Yan. And then X apps, no, also independent of near real-time RIC, pero essentially parang andun siya sa block na yon. They are also value-added microservices, no, that can perform radio resource management. No? Ayan. So like for example, no, for network slicing and scheduling. No? So these apps no, may be open, no, or they may be proprietary. Yun na lang, depending kasi no, on, since all the hardware are open, no, yung virtualized network functions, yun na lang yung possibly no, maging proprietary. No? So, doon na maglalabanan. No? Instead of market para maglalaban yung mga market mga players on the hardware component, they're now focusing on the market demand no, in the software side. Yan. Let's look at the R apps. So R apps, these are some examples. So, maraming iba't ibang R app na sinishare, no? But some of them are proprietary. So ito lang yung mga right now no, na commonly available. No? So an example of an R app is this one, no? RF signal predictor. So it gets the measurements from O1. So the measurements of RF signal experienced by the UE, or measurement of UE location. And this is the input, no? And then the output no, of that would be prediction of the location of UE, or prediction of the RF signal at that location for serving a neighbor. No? So notice that this particular task no, it requires more than 1 second. That's why it's an R app. Kasi it requires a lot of information and then ipaprocess niya para ma-determine for future prediction. So dito papasok yung AI, machine learning models, gano'n. So marami pang ibang R apps, like ito, no? Cell utilization predictor. This one is like capacity utilization of the cell site, no? And to predict, no, maybe after some time, no, at this rate, no, will the base station be able to handle the certain demand of that location? Or dapat na bang mag-prepare for expansion? Something like that, no? This would be quite good no, for network design and planning. And then itong another example is the user equipment quality of experience predictor. Now, when you say quality of experience, more on how the end user, um, how good is the experience of the end user, you know, how delightful or how annoying no, yung kanilang experience. Yeah. So it would get the measurements of the RF signals, and then the cell site capacity utilization, and then check no, kung how good yung quality of experience. They can define no, ano ba yung quality of experience. Is it a factor of the RF signal, of the bandwidth, and things like that. Yeah. Okay, so there are other R apps, no? Like there are R apps from Ericsson. I think nasa next slide pala yan. Ay, sorry, wala. So may mga R apps from Ericsson, no? They are providing, they are also doing some improvements on that, no? And then there are also open source R apps, which we hope no, to be able to eventually also offer no, in the Learning Hub. So right now, ito po yung mga parang theoretical, parang concepts for now. But eventually, we hope to give the learners no, based on what these are, no? Para hindi lang mostly theoretical. No? Ayan. And then, yun yung R apps. No? Again, pag R apps, yan yung nasa non-real-time RIC, no? Kasi yung R nasa taas, yung X nasa baba. So yung X apps naman would be the on the near real-time brick. No? So they some examples no of use cases of the X apps would be as shown here no at the bottom at the left side. So like for example, optimization, yung mga specific RAN customization, mga other innovation in the RAN, but essentially more on radio network management. No? Kumbaga, yung implementation to ensure that the nodes are operating well. And then, as you can see on the right, no, these are some apps examples from different vendors, like the X apps from AT&T and Nokia, measurement campaign, automated neighbor relation, admission control, or from parallel wireless. No? They tried no, they tested yung virtualized functions for various cellular technologies. So, hindi lang pala for 5G, but pwede rin for older generations like 2G, 3G. Ito 2G base station controller, 3G radio network controller, and 4G X2 gateway. No? X2 is yung interconnection between the 4G nodes no? Para makapag-usap sila. So, ayan. So, mostly, no, itong mga examples na to is really for mga live data collection, live data network collection, or mga pag-test ng mga RAN controls. No? Ayan. So, marami ring other examples. So, some examples, if you search online, no, some are proprietary, some are open. No? So, ayan. Kasi nga, again, no, yung software component no, of the RAN may be open or proprietary. No? Kasi ang important na maging open really is the hardware side, no? Yung kaniyang pinaka device and yung interface, no, dapat open to ensure na interoperable, no? And then, kasi pwedeng mag-mix and match with the software as long as the hardware is um, open or commercial off the shelf. No? I-install, para i-install na lang no, yung mga virtualized network functions para ka lang mag-mix and match in that case. No? Yan. So, those are the R apps and X apps no, in theory. R apps are on the non-real-time RIC, X apps on the near real-time RIC. Yan. So now let's look at the non-real-time RIC architecture. Earlier we have seen it already, no? Yung in general, no? It is providing the platform for our apps. It's a logical function that enable non-real-time control and optimization of the RAN elements, mostly mga tasks greater than 1 second of latency. And then, this is a high-level ORAN non-real-time RIC architecture overview. Pero kung titignan nyo, very similar naman siya sa kanina. Purple, si SMO, tapos blue, si non-real-time RIC, yellow, yung near real-time RIC. The two are connected by A1 interface. No? So just remember this, no? High-level ORAN architecture. And if we go to the next slide, yan, dun na mas maraming details. Hindi pa lang pinapakita lahat, no? Pero as you can see, we still have the SMO framework. And then we have the non-real-time RIC here. Tapos near real-time RIC connected to the non-real-time RIC via A1 interface. And then may O1 interface din no, sa SMO framework connecting to the RIC and then also the E2 node. And O2 naman is for the O cloud. No? So parang similar pa rin kanina. Pero dito in this slide no, mas marami ng detail. No? Like for example, in the non-real-time RIC framework, it now contains the different functions, maybe functions for policies, for as in learning, ganyan. And then we also have here the R apps. So these R apps are those no, that add microservices towards the RAN and usually handles mga tasks no, the greater than 1 second latency. And then since these our apps may be independent or maybe third party, you know, they need to wait no, to connect to the non-real-time RIC via the R1 interface. So again, dapat open interface. So our apps may be proprietary, but the R1 should be open no, to ensure that even if you deploy different R apps from various vendors, they can still work with the non-real-time rig. Yan. Tapos ito, if you need to communicate so external sources, ito muna internal interface. Pero if there's a need for external sources, like of course, if kailangan i-manage ng human, di meron din tayo ditong human-machine interface connecting to the terminal. No? Kasi all of these are virtualized on a commercial off-the-shelf device. Pero syempre, to be able to tweak it, maybe configure something, no? Of course, there should be a terminal that can help manage this whole system here. Yan. So, dito papasok, of course, yung design ng mga graphical user interface, ano yung mga information na pwede makita, and so on. But mostly, these are they may be just running as a simple process at the background without graphical user interface. Pwedeng command line interface lang siya na tinatawag and then running, tapos mag-output ng data. Ayan. Okay, and that's it for the non-real-time RIC architecture. No? So if you go back here, it's basically just showing the connection between the SMO and the near real-time RIC. Tapos dito sa kabila, pinakita natin how each component contains different parts and performs a lot of functions. No? Dati kasi we just look at it at the overview lang. Then ngayon medyo mas detailed na sila. Okay, now let's proceed sa near real-time RIC. Yan. Okay, so near real-time RIC provides the platform for X apps. No? Pag X apps, usually these are added services for near real-time control and optimization. And it uses mga data collection done over the E2 interface. So again, E2, lagi natin naririnig, but this is the interface connecting the near real-time RIC to the other RAN components, particularly yung ating DU at saka CU. And so it may connect to several different DU and CU kasi baka maraming nodes. So it will collect a lot of data and eventually can be used. The data can be used by the near real-time RIC or even by the non-real-time RIC for various decisions and for various training of AI models, machine learning models. It interacts with the non-real-time RIC via the A1 interface to receive and run the trained models to improve network conditions, and can be deployed as centralized or distributed. Later, we'll explain this part. Okay, so essentially, we have the SMO, and then here we also have the non-real-time RIC connecting to the near real-time RIC, itong part na ito. Itong yellow, They talk to each other via the A1 interface. And then, in the near real-time RIC, there are X apps. Again, the X apps may be different, maybe from different vendors, maybe third party, maybe proprietary, maybe open. So depending on anong X app yung i-deploy. And then within the near real-time RIC, there are other functions, like for example, conflict management, subscription management, other services, and security. And then this near real-time RIC connects to the different nodes. When they say E2 nodes, any nodes, the RAN itself, by RAN, depending on the generation. If you have 4G node, then it's E node B. If 5G node is G node D. And essentially, the near real-time RIC, this yellow one, connects to the different nodes via the E2 interface. Yan. So, paulit-ulit natin nakita yung mga functions and nodes since these are the important ones. Yan. So, yung RIC, it's possible that the RIC manages multiple nodes, or pwedeng there are multiple not near real-time RIC handling different nodes. Yan. So, ito yung one design, one centralized near real-time RIC design serving 4G and 5G simultaneously. So there are three main types of centralized near real-time RIC, no? Pag type 1, it only serves 5G. And then pag 4G and 5G, this is the type 2. Mas may kita nyo dito kasi itong tatlong components, usually 5G siya. And then for the 4G, no, itong eNode B. Or pwede rin namang it only serves 4G, like this one, type 3. And so the centralized near real-time RIC, no, this one can handle like one RIC and then handling different types, or sorry, different nodes, whether the node is just 5G or 5G and 4G or just 4G. Ayan. So just one RIC, no? Itong tatlong to, magkakaibang type lang. So parang lahat sila, they are all centralized near real-time RIC types. So what if distributed near real-time RIC? No? It's possible to have one physical RIC, one physical maybe server or a device. No? Pero within it, there may be more than one logical near real-time RICs. No? Just like what you can see here. No? There are several near real-time RICs. Maybe they function for different purposes. Baka the one near real-time RIC is only in charge of handling only the 4G one or the others 5G one, or maybe they're also handling all these solutions. So depending on ano yung gusto no, ng mobile network operator. Or maybe this physical RIC here is a set of servers, so, na nakaano lang sila, parang multiple servers functioning as one big real-time RIC. So that's also possible. Depende na lang dun sa magma-manage na kasi mga virtualization engineers they can manage it depending on the use case, no? Ano yung kailangan, no? And so essentially, the near real-time RIC again, no, is the one connecting to the different nodes, different RANs. Bakit? Because they need to gather the data, the radio network information para ma-optimize nila better, no? Whether they need to perform better network slicing, scheduling, and things like that. And to deploy no, yung ating near real-time RIC, it can be done in a centralized manner, just one RIC handling a certain type of node, or pwedeng distributed RIC, wherein there are many logical near real-time RICs, no? Possibly for redundancy then, no? If one since this is virtualized function, if one function fails, no, for some reason, there are other RIC, na logical RIC, so that can take over for to handle other components. Ayan. Okay, so to summarize, no, since it's almost time and we need also yung may announcements pa ata, no? So to summarize, no, in this course, no, I hope you have learned a lot about the RAN Intelligent Controller. Essentially, just by its name, the purpose of this is to manage, to control, the radio resources and radio networks. And it enables various functionalities, from the eNode B and gNode B. And then we also learned about the functional split, how the RAN functions are assigned to the components. We have the three major components of the access network. We have the RU, DU, and CU. And all these three have perform different functions of the RAN protocol stack. Whichever protocol is assigned to each part, they are defined in the functional split options. So we need to standardize, or rather the functional split is standardized to ensure that whichever variant is being selected will be consistent across different operators and vendors. That way we can ensure that the system is interoperable and there's just a need to integrate them. And then the three RAN control loops are the non-real-time RIC control loop, near real-time RIC control loop, ODU scheduler control loop. We also have the R apps. These are microservices near or medyo malapit sa non-real-time RIC. And then their focus is really for long-term configuration management and data analytics. Task greater than 1 second. And then X apps are microservices that can be used to perform radio resource management. No? It's near real time, Rick, no? Since it requires no, yung mga radio resource information and really for tasks greater than 1 second of latency. And so for further reading, you can check out yung nasa course naman natin, course site na natin sa Rakuten Learning Hub. Other further readings and videos, um, particularly no, yung Cube Optics kanina. Let me just go back. Ayan. So ito, no, yung sa cubeoptics.com/functional split, you'll be able to see more about the different processes no, involved in each protocol.